think a lot of it too is that they're all training and learning from the same sources, and they're all learning the right way of doing it. So it's just like really homogenized in that way. So you're not
Yeah.
a lot of new ideas, and rather than like thinking of themselves having like an audience, they think of like, oh well, we wouldn't want to offend people, so we can't say anything about that. So and a lot of it just really goes back to this idea of like being all things for all people, or trying to be, or not realizing, not even understanding what the proclivities of your audience are. Our book Punk Rock Entrepreneur by Caroline Moore, she talks about the idea of knowing your juggalos. And when I taught at Portland State, I taught Know Your Juggalos as like one of our lessons, as like the notion where you're like, you are not for everybody. Everybody is not going to love you. Some people are going to really not love you. And so you are not concerned about those people.
Yeah, for sure. I think like as we age, because I don't know, I feel like I've only felt that feeling probably for the last 5 years or something. But like it was like mind blowing. Oh yeah, not everybody's gonna love me.
Yeah.
And that's like seriously okay. There's so many people in the world, and they don't have to. And I don't have to love all those people. And that's like okay. And once you're in that position, it's kind of like, okay, like I don't know. I think it makes you a better person to have that viewpoint.
I feel like one of the things that has served me best in my professional life, and I say this with great hesitation, is having spent so much time in blog comments and on Twitter in the like early aughts or late aughts, early 2010s, because like that was a environment where you got instant feedback on anything you did or said, positive, negative, neutral, off the wall, conversational, all of that. And it's like, if you're going to keep doing that, you kind of need to like develop just this like amazing filter where like you don't take things personally, you maintain the message and tone you want to maintain, you like build relationships, you'll be choosy, you be I don't know, yeah, like I think that is something a skill that I still draw on. And I don't know if I'm like happy that I spent so much time staring at a screen and arguing with people, but also like, you know, when somebody comes at us with criticism, it's like a lot easier to like take it in stride rather than making sort of like catastrophic decisions about like what to publish and not to publish based on one person's feedback, you know.
Yeah,
or based on multiple people's feedback.
Yeah, you'd be all over the map, right? Like one day it would be okay, and the next day it wouldn't be, and then someone would love it, and then someone would hate it, and
exactly. And that all happens a lot slower. Like we get a ton of feedback, but it's like on a much slower scale. You know, we're not like getting bombarded by the hour. And it does honestly make it harder to take into stride and harder to see the big picture on a slower scale.
Hi, I'm Joe Beal, the founder and CEO of Microcosm Publishing. I'm also the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, which distills what I've learned from selling millions of books over the past 28 years.
I'm Elly Blue, the Vice President of Microcosm. We started this podcast to share what we've learned with newer publishers, so you can learn from our mistakes. Or maybe you just want to learn about the publishing industry.
This week, we feature special and first-time guest to the pod, Nicole LaRue, creator of the brand new, in fact, so brand new, it's not yet here, and it's the first in a new experiment that we're trying that we'll talk about more later, the Heart Tarot.
I've always, as a designer or illustrator, wanted to do a tarot deck, like 100,000,000%. I think that's probably everybody's dream, right? I don't know why you want to put yourself out there to do 78 illustrations. I mean, it seems a little insane, and it's never come, like the ideas never come to me. And my wife is an energetics coach. She's like, she tells me why all the shit's happening in the world. And I'm like, it's another full moon. Like, why do they keep happening? Like, you know, in the whole world. So I'm definitely a brain person. And she kind of, I don't know, our combination is kind of great, I feel like, because she's all heart. She's like Cancer sun, Cancer moon. She cries. I try not to cry. And so the balance there kind of is kind of beautiful. And I think that's where this idea that the heart knows things that the mind can't explain. And so when she tells me something and I'm not super woo, I'm like, but like, I can't deny you right now. And that makes me so frustrated, but it also makes sense. It's like, oh, okay. I see like the universe is like saying something. And so I thought like, holy smokes, like if I could build on that, where I think a lot of people who go into tarot are a little skeptical anyway. And then they see stuff and they're like, whoa, it's not like dark and witchy, and it's like the good witch, right? Kind of stuff. And that's what I like love about this deck. It's like humanness and like how you interpret that, and trying to like slow down our brains for a second and just be like, dude, this is like what's happening. Yeah.
I love that. I have to confess, the first time I saw this deck, I was like, we're going to need a lot of text to explain this.
Yeah.
And
you might get a lot of text.
And like maybe either to or against the case of astrology. I'm also a double Cancer, but I'm like the opposite of how you describe your wife. Where I'm like,
we're gonna
all
have
brain, only brain.
About that.
There's probably some other factors going on there.
I'll let her talk to you because she could tell you why. Let
her know that
I will.
But like I remember like kind of getting into it, and as I got into it more, I was like, okay, I get it more. I was like getting it more in increments, and then I came up with what I thought was a very rudimentary description, and I showed it to a bunch of people, and I was like, do you understand this deck? Or no, I think what I said was, this deck is really hard to understand. Does this description help you? And they were all like, no, the deck is not hard to understand, and that description is perfect.
Wow. That is amazing. You were like, I was in my brain the whole time when I wrote this.
I mean, what's that comic with the heart and the brain talking to each other?
Yeah.
I feel like that's exactly what's going on.
That's hilarious. That's really funny, actually. You did not confess that to me early on.
I mean,
I'm hearing.
The art is beautiful, and that is undeniable.
That's my favorite part, of course.
But then the meaning, it's like reading a poem instead of reading a how-to book, which is
yeah. Definitely a lot of tarot decks are, at least mainstream tarot decks, seem very obvious, and you can you see that it's like a cup or a pentacle or a whatever, and yeah, I see what you mean. That's awesome.
Anyway, my question, I do have a question, which is unrelated to all the things I just said.
Cool.
Which is when you created this sort of like 78 card system, like a tarot deck is a system, and yours is not like, you didn't choose subject matter, which kind of conforms to those sort of wider Rider-Waite-Smith system. You created your own system. Can you tell us about that?
I don't know if it's like necessarily a system exactly. I just wanted to interpret every card with not like a necessarily anatomically correct, because most of these cards, if a doctor was to look at them, he'd be like, whoa, dude, or he would be like, whoa, dude. But make every single one absolutely different from the next in the interpretation of the tarot card itself. I'm probably not even answering your question. This is how I answer questions. I don't answer them. And then I ask
the creator
what the question was again.
Like, how did you choose what to put on each card? Like, how did you choose what to put on the Four of Swords?
Well, I would just like kind of just go deep into like every tarot book my wife has. And like even online, I would look, because I don't know tarot. Like, I don't know tarot by heart. I also have a friend who's a psychic, a pet psychic, and she and I think maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, like met for dinner. I was like, tell me everything about tarot. And I left completely confused. But that was like my intro to being like, dude, I really want to do a deck. I have no idea what's going on in this like wild world of tarot. So I think it started there. And then, yeah, so when I went to do this deck, I just had to I had to make it make sense in my mind, because I am a brain person. I definitely am a brain person. I try to think about that and think I'm a heart person, but then I compare myself to my wife and I'm like, no, I guess I'm just kidding. No, I'm totally not. So yeah, a lot of research and a lot of like trying to like understand like what other people might see in it. And also to make it beautiful. I mean, I wanted it to be super, super fucking cool.
Making something fucking cool is a good goal. I just want to say that in general.
Right.
But as a secondary goal, you have achieved a lot of other things in life. I mean, you're a working tattoo artist. You have like a background in design.
Yeah.
So how did that happen, and what are your proudest accomplishments?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I went to school for design. And I don't know, for years and years and years, I would do things to make things just look pretty. I mean, like, that's what we're taught. We're like, make them look cool. And in 2017, I did the Women's March on Washington logo, which was like happenstance and then also like game changer kind of directionally for me. And it felt like, oh shit, like I can make things that like are meaningful and helpful and beautiful. Like I don't have to just make something look pretty. I knew I didn't always want to, but I'm like paying my bills, right? Like I'll take on whatever ugly job that I need to take on. And I don't know, I think I'm just at a point in my career that it's just really has built to this point now, for at least in my mind. I don't think my projects could get any better. And I hope they do. Dude, I would love that. But I'm doing my dream projects right now, currently. And half of them are with you guys. It's fine. Like, seriously. No, I'm so over the moon with so many things, like work-wise. And it's even hard to call them work, even though it's a lot of work. But I also can't quite believe that I'm doing them. Like this tarot deck and a graphic novel, and I'm a tattoo artist. Like, what the fuck? Like, where is this, but it didn't just happen to me. I mean, I've definitely worked toward it and love what I do, and things have changed and evolved and grown, and I'm just finally at a place. I mean, I'm old, so I hope I'm doing good things by now. Like, that's like, isn't that everybody's life goal before you die? Just in case.
Your teenage self probably thinks you're so cool right now.
Seriously, they probably do. They're like, whoa, we never could have imagined. I'm taking this marketing workshop for tattoo artists specifically, and the guy goes, and it's like 100 of us, 100 weirdos, right? All in the same call. And he's like, but people think we're so cool. And everybody's like, he's like, I know we're a bunch of weirdos. We're all introverts. We're like super, super nerdy. And people think we're amazing. And we're like, yeah, sure. Like none of us are like, we're cool people, but it makes me laugh.
So let's see, you're doing all these things that are cool and that are meaningful, and they're so different from each other. So like the projects that we are working on are this heart tarot. That's very like, it's like every card is a work of art that you would want to hang on your wall. Which actually is not a bad idea to turn some of
maybe we should talk after the podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk. And then also a graphic novel about disordered eating and eating disorders, and books of wordplay, essentially.
Yeah, that's a good way. I was waiting to see what you might say about it, because I was like, I don't know what I would say.
But like, and then you have other projects too. So my question is like, what's the common thread that pulls all of these things together? Along with your tattoo work?
Dream projects. I mean, they've been in my brain for a long time. Tarot for sure. In other words, the wordplay books have been like in the works, but no outlet. And then Food Fight is definitely like, that's been, I don't know. It just had to be the right timing. It's kind of like life. It's oddly like it didn't need to come out until now. So I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm going to ask my wife all these things again, because she'd be like, this is why. And I'll be like, damn it.
Because of the stars.
Do you feel like that takes the mystery out of life?
No, because I only like 3/4 believe her.
Okay. Because
my brain's like, nah. But you also can't like disprove her. And that makes me mad sometimes.
In a big way.
Yeah.
My take on astrology is that I hate that it is accurate.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're on the same team then. Yeah.
Right. And
The universe is something funky, and there's something funky going on in there.
hmm So, but yes, it absolutely ties into the theme of the heart explains things that the mind can't.
Totally. It
Which
really
is
does.
the theme of this deck for those new to this deck.
So let's see. This is your first tarot deck, and now I'm trying to remember. It's not. Oh yeah, it's not your first book by a long shot. We actually have been carrying books you've done with other publishers for years and years and years before you approached us, which was super cool. We were like, oh, this is an author we're familiar with. How did you get started with books? Like, why books? We're talking to publishers here, so we got to throw them a bone.
Yeah. My senior project for my bachelor's degree was, in fact, a book. So I was doing bookbinding and letterpress printing at the time.
Cool.
Totally fighting my graphic design teachers to let me illustrate stuff. So my senior project was a book project. Someone else wrote the book based on like paradigm shifts. And it was like this cute little frog. And it was like, I can't even remember the whole deal. So, but I illustrated a 50-page book. I letterpress printed 50 copies of this book, and then I hand bound them. And funny enough, Gibb Smith publisher in Layton, Utah, whom I worked for 4 years, someone introduced me to Gibb Smith at the time and was like maybe you should like approach them, and I never did. But then in 2019, I was at a gift show in New York, stumbled again upon Gibb Smith Publishing. They offered me a job, and I moved from back east, back to Utah, and worked with them and fell in love with what they were doing. And I'm still doing a bit of freelance for them, working on some book projects, a lot more illustration, which is kind of my passion. But yeah, none of it makes sense, but it all works out. So, yeah.
I like this take. So you've been very complimentary to our model. So I guess for our publishing audience, what do you think is different about our model than like what you had come to appreciate, understand, be frustrated by, etc., with your publishing history, which seems to span like the better part of 20 years, I guess?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah. You guys are liberal enough to take on people you believe are doing good things. And I think other publishers, from my experience, and I know you guys have to sell shit, like that's your job, but I think it's so heavy-handed in the sales part of publishing that I've experienced a lot of resistance toward projects that they can't quite wrap their mind around. And I don't know, I just think like, but then you see all this other garbage being like, I'm sorry, publishers, but there's a lot of garbage out there.
Yeah.
And so I think Microcosm has been like so refreshing to me. You guys have been just like, and you've turned down another project of mine. So it's not like, oh my gosh, you guys are going to take on everything. But I love that you believe in the ability of so many things, and being liberal is not a bad thing in publishing. I don't feel it in other places.
We built this software from scratch to solve our own problems starting in 2001.
It's not only the reason for our survival, but the reason we've been a Publishers Weekly fastest growing publisher 3 years in a row.
Now we want to share it with you.
Join Working Lit and get back the agency to understand your publishing business, market and sell your books, and painlessly pay royalties.
Working Lit, doing the math for publishers.
Visit workinglit.com to give it a try.
I do think we're like significantly further to the left than most of the industry, but I think that's kind of inconsequential. Like I think it is entirely to do with the idea of like, I think publishing has a capacity problem, and I think that's why you get these books that are like malformed or misdeveloped or like crappy in their execution, is that you're like, oh, everybody was kind of like phoning it in because they had too much to do. And then like that is, I think, like often the gross reality of it. But you know, and so like a lot of that can be fixed in systems. Like, for example, we made it so we don't announce a book until it's like done or ready, you know. So like rather than having a deadline and then saying like, okay, when you like get it to us by this date, and then we rush it through processes, and then we're kind of like, wait a minute, this book is really not all it should be. Like we do it the other way around, where we're like, when it's ready, we can do it. And then because of that, we don't do things that are time sensitive or current events or you know, whatever you want to call that. And I think like it's always like little things like that where you can then be like, the spring season is like, you know, we're not, and we treat kind of every book equally. You know, we don't have like lead titles in the sense that like they don't get any extra push, even though we know some titles will outdo other titles.
Sure, yeah. I mean, but that's so vastly different than the publishing world, but like I feel like, I mean, even in all y'all's emails and things, I feel like you do just keep an eye on your systems, and you make changes when you need to make changes, and like when the world's shit, you like think about it and think, oh my gosh, you know, like now what are we going to do with what we've got going on? And that's impressive to me.
Yeah, I think we actually ended up delaying your graphic novel because we were like, we are not confident in our ability to sell something like this if the economy keeps being this way a year from now, which, you know, honestly might be the worst idea ever, because what if the economy is amazing a year from now and everybody wants to talk about eating disorders? But
I'm sure it will coincide just like that.
Yeah.
I really could not respect that more, honestly. I've had a couple of books come out and like it right as COVID hit, or you know, just like, and they just disappear. You don't get a second chance. And so yeah, is it shitty to wait another year? Yeah, it feels like ew, gross. And also, holy shit, I don't want it to disappear. It's too important. And so for you guys to even throw that into the, you know, the mix is gigantic to me.
It's such a difficult game of prediction, and thank you for being so cool about it. Honestly, I had to give that news to a few people, and nobody was like uncool about it, but you were definitely the most like supportive of the decision.
Probably because I have experience, you know, like it not like, I mean, you work so hard on, I mean, this is no joke. Like I think people think, you know, it's like having babies. People think like it just is like no miracle. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking miracle. You have a baby. You do a book, it's not just like someone just throws that out there and it's just magically appears. It's so much work and so much thought, and then on both sides, from me and then handing it to you guys, it's a big deal.
It is a huge deal. It's a lot of labor that a lot of people put into it. And Joe's right. We're all over capacity too. So it can be really easy to just be like, oh my God, this.
Yeah.
Like being able to slow down and do it right. I feel like every opportunity we can take to do that has served us well, until we get really, really behind schedule. And then it serves us very poorly because then we're rushing again.
Because you guys are humans. It's weird.
It is.
We are weird. It's true.
I love it about you guys, though.
We're comfortable with that detail. So, but it's and I think that is interesting, because you know, and it's also like we've done it. Well, we haven't done it this way, but we've done it for decades. So part of it is like you get to the point where you're like, oh, what is a better way of doing it? And I think maybe being open to it is, you know, open to change is weird or different. I don't rightly know. You know, you know, my last job, I worked at a restaurant, so I haven't really seen how other people do it. I have done consulting work, and I have seen there's people, as one person put it, more afraid of changing than of failing. And really interesting and very true.
I think that's I think that's definitely a truism for sure. I think I'm starting this marketing workshop, and the guy was like, what's stopping you from doing stuff? I was like, well, I mean, because I don't know, like, because it's not going to look good, or, you know, he's like, you're basically like throwing away thousands of dollars by not starting. And I'm like, I mean, it's kind of the same idea. Like, I'm not going to change because this is too comfortable. And yet, like, what am I losing out on by not changing what I'm doing?
Mhm.
Did that even fit? Like, with, I felt like it really fit with what Joe was saying.
I think it did. I really think it did. It's like
Thank you.
you're anytime you make a change, you take a risk. And I feel like the more overwhelmed we are and the more difficult the outside world is, the harder it is to take risk.
I might as well stay comfortable because we know comfortable, and everything
Yeah.
else is a little like, maybe it's going to be too much work, or maybe it's going to be scarier, or
Yeah, and I think that speaks a lot to what you were saying earlier about sort of our political leanings, which is, I do think that it is very tempting, especially when times are tough, for publishers to not want to take risks by putting out something political, whereas we've kind of always found the opposite to be the most effective for us, to be like, let's put out the thing that like the most makes a statement at this time, and that like says our values the most clearly, rather than like not say something because we're afraid that it's going to piss people off, or like we want to piss people off, because those are not, we want to give people a way to sort out what they want to read and what they don't want to read, and what better way to do that than being like in your face about it. But the funny thing is, we have a little ad, a little page in the front of all of our books that has like a picture of me and Joe in the bookstore, and then this little statement that begins like, in a world that is has been inching ever further to the right for 80 years, we are a centrist publisher. And occasionally, I don't think most people notice that or read it, but occasionally someone on our staff will be like,
so for real though?
And it's hard because it's like they can't understand, like our role is like, we're providing information. We're not telling you what or how to think. We're saying like, here's something else to consider. So honestly, it's like it's like partly the test of like, if you're just looking for things that you agree with, you're in the wrong place.
I love that though. And why would in the publishing industry, why would we go somewhere just to feel comfortable? I mean, it should be the opposite.
Yeah, I feel like
the word searching for.
Totally. The word centrist has a weird, I feel like that's changed a little bit, because now you think of those like undecided voters in Ohio, and you're like, who are these undecided voters? What's going on? But like, I have come to like really appreciate and respect that phrase, especially as it's often my job to explain to the person who's confused or upset about it what we mean by it. Or just like, talk them through it while they process it. And I'm like, yeah, nobody comes and works at a place like Microcosm or is an author at a place like Microcosm because they're like, I'm excited to identify as a centrist. But like, the way that I see it is like, we are pushing the Overton window, which is a phrase I just recently learned from Joe. Thanks, Joe. Like, we're like, part of our role as a publisher is to like change the discourse and to define, like, be definitive in some way, like we are literally putting out the work that people are reading and talk, and that's changing how they think and changing how they talk, at least people who are reading our work. And like, let's do as the best we can to like shift the discourse.
What do you as Microcosm feel like is like the roadblock for other publishers to come at it that way? I mean, I can say what I think, and I have like, this much knowledge around it. It would just be what I've seen in my opinion. But like, that's not it's so not in the industry. Like, for real, it's not. So what do you see it being like? What's the roadblock for other publishers?
I don't think they have a background in restaurant management.
Yeah. Dude, they have no idea what's going on in the world.
I actually would love to hear your opinion, your take on that.
Can I hear yours first?
I don't know. Honestly, I do think all the publishers I talk to, like, they're out there doing their best. And I think that like, sometimes it's easy to lose the forest for the trees. Okay. Like, when you're small or when you're not at the top, you're looking at books on a case-by-case basis. When you are at the top, you're all caught up in the like payroll and conferences and balance sheets of it all. It can just be, I think it can be hard to like step back and be like, corral all of that into a point of view. And we're almost like the perfect size to be able to do that. Like we could do that when we were small because we were fierce fighters and we could live in a dumpster and not care if we succeeded or failed financially. But now it's like we're large enough that we can push that, but we're small enough that we aren't, and we're not like lost in the weeds of like how to do things anymore. Like we know how to do the work, but but we're still small enough to be agile and to be like, are we going to take a chance on this? Yes, heck yes we are.
Yeah.
And this is why, and not lose track of who we are. So I don't think that really, I don't know. I don't want to throw our fellow publishers under the bus with my answer.
No. And even with the question, I don't mean that. I mean, I think anybody who goes into publishing is like wanting to do amazing things for the world. Like, I don't know if you could love a book or books and not have that.
We're not going into it to make a lot of money. That's for sure.
Yeah. So definitely, I love, I mean, publishing, like books, like across the board, anybody in publishing, I think it's like the business part that like crumbles people, and that makes me sad. That like breaks my heart, because I think, you know, people would have it some other way if they felt like they could.
I know I have to, like, I mean, back to hearts and brains, like I feel like the more difficult business and management decisions I have to make, the more I have to sort of like protect my heart from becoming hard.
No kidding, for real.
We turned down something of yours? I don't remember this.
I said something beautiful instead. It was like a poetry reworking words from authors from really gross books.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Maybe we should talk.
We don't think of it as we're working with people. We think of it as like project to project. Yeah, and like obviously if we have a relationship, like it's different, but most of our bestsellers are debuts. Most of our things are based on the value proposition of the work. Like we don't sign somebody because they're a celebrity. We sign them because the book is cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we wouldn't sign a book we couldn't sell from an author we loved working with. But we do need every book we sign to have an author we can work with. So like, you know, now that we know what it's like to work with you, we don't have to vet that part anymore.
We'll stop all next future projects. We're cutting her off. We had that podcast interview and holy shit.
She's too pleasant to work with. It's too easy. We need more of a struggle.
That's what they all say for sure.
Our industry is run by billionaires and conglomerates.
At Microcosm, we wanted the freedom to independently sell our books, easily pay royalties, manage our inventory, and understand our business all in one place.
That's why we've been using our own software since 2001.
Now, we want to share it with you.
Working Lit is the only business success software that is created and owned 100% by publishers for publishers.
Join Working Lit and get the agency you need to help your business grow.
Visit workinglit.com to try it for free.
And one person writing you a letter to tell you what they think about your book can like change the course of your whole week, month, year.
Your whole being, basically.
So why do you think that they don't do it?
I think almost for the exact same reason, and I would have worded it that like I think humans go into publishing with like dreams and like excitement and the love of it, and I think it has been built into such a big business that once it's there, even going back to what you said, Joe, it's really hard to change because this is comfortable, this is working. However that's working. Is it like majorly successful is it mind changing? I mean, how do we define success? But like you're here and then it starts to be about numbers and then forest for the trees, like Ellis. I mean, I really feel like I've seen that, and that's really unfortunate, and it is our world. So it's kind of like, okay, what do you do? You know, and they're all trying to pay their bills too. I don't know. It's such a wicked cycle, and yet you all are doing it. So that's the kink in the cycle. You all are the kink in the cycle. Oh, you could put that at the beginning of this episode.
We're the kink in the cycle.
You guys are the kink in the cycle. I think that's a good one. If I can throw my hat in the ring for voting.
That's actually our company motto.
It's gonna be now. It's your tagline. It's your new
In the
tagline.
cycle. I'm writing it down. I mean, our real secret weapon is Joe, so maybe Joe is the best person to answer the question.
How we became the kink in the cycle? That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was just not having no idea what I was doing. Honestly, was the bigger. I mean, which is really honestly the best tutor whenever you're lost, is that if you think you know what you're doing, you will always gravitate towards like the tried and true path. And if you don't think you know what you're doing, you'll be like, well, I really don't know what I'm doing. So I have to like figure out what I'm doing and make sure that I'm taking an informed approach. Whereas, and it doesn't necessarily lead one to be cautious, but it does lead one to, have a different kind of self-awareness and would be, and to like think it through more. And, and I just think anytime somebody employs critical thinking to their approach rather than muscle memory, they're going to be a better publisher or a better artist or whatever,
Totally makes sense. Yeah. I love that actually. Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think your ideas are wonderful as well.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Oh my gosh. I want to be in a room with you two one day just for fun. I just want to feel like what it feels like.
There would be tacos involved.
It's very sarcastic.
Yeah, that's fine. You guys are my people.
Lots of and I didn't mean that to sound sarcastic as it probably did.
No, you could not. You could not.
But lots of time, I mean, Elly and I are just kind of like building a punerific type humor most of the time upon like one joke upon the next.
I can imagine.
And we're cutting into each other a bit in a playful way, which not everybody can endure.
Oh, I love good sarcasm. If you feel safe, sarcasm is amazing. Like, I love that. Yeah. But you do have to feel safe. Like, it's not like I will never attack you with my sarcasm, even if it seems like I am. But I wouldn't. Otherwise, like, I wouldn't love you or whatever,
Right.
That's a great insight about humor. Yeah.
Totally.
Humor works best in an environment where everybody already feels safe.
Yeah, you wouldn't come close in the first place if it didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Which, maybe honestly, I don't know. Like, we do have a very funny staff and funny atmosphere. So maybe that's actually the answer to your question, is that our staff are cracking jokes all day long, and that is sometimes where some of our best and most absolutely off the wall ideas come from. Like, there have been a few seasons where we are all just cracking ourselves up in the office all day over these and making these books more and more and more ridiculous, and then those books tend to sell very well.
I can totally believe it. It's like y'all are having a slumber party at Microcosm, and that's where the best ideas come. Middle of the night at a slumber party.
Before the pandemic, when it was 12 people in one tiny office, there was a lot of generative mayhem there.
Generative mayhem, yes. And it is interesting too, because a lot of times when somebody comes in now, they tend to think they have to have serious voice, and so you have to really walk them back to being like, how does a person talk though? And what does our voice sound like, and who is listening, and what do they care about? Do they want you to sound really stern or no?
So you break them down. You just break them down. You just wear them down. Right?
We just laugh at all of their jokes until they realize that this is rewarded behavior.
And honestly, most of the time you have to be like, the joke you made to your coworkers is the joke that you should make to the public.
Totally, yeah. Totally.
And they're like, really? I'm not going to get fired because I would get fired at most jobs for doing that. And we have to be like, in fact, you will be promoted.
They're like, oh shit.
There was an amazing moment. I think there was a few amazing moments in our newsletter, if you follow that, where there was one where there was not a subject, and then there was one with a fairly egregious typo as the subject.
I did not notice.
And then both of them were followed up very cleverly with like humanity, and then those were almost the most responded to posts that like we've ever done.
Shout out to Abby with the classic placeholder newsletter.
Placeholder, that was the
It was the day after the inauguration this year, January 21st, and everybody was like, we got so many responses that were like, we feel the same way. It was the most relatable moment.
That is so good.
And we ran the coupon placeholder, which was a very widely used coupon.
Yeah.
You guys are the best. That's amazing.
But that was also a moment when, like, you know, if all of our books were like serious, professional, boring books, not boring, but like books that didn't offend anyone, like we would have struggled. Whereas like
you
people
had to write an entire letter of apology or something.
I know, like, sorry for not giving you what you need, but people were flocking to our site that week for like books about abortion access, books about like direct action, books about how to build a biplane.
That's wild.
I mean, I don't know if anyone's out there actually building a biplane in their backyard, but if you are and you're listening to this, please let us know. Please let us know.
Maybe we will. I'll tell you how it turns out. We're out of here.
I know, but yeah, people were like prepping hard, and we already had all that stuff because we weren't like being reactive. Like we were like, this is kind of always what we've done.
Yeah. It's amazing. You guys are amazing.
And thank you. And I think it's the difficult thing of people panic and they don't think about like, what do people need from me right now? You know, like really always the question, you know, like that's kind of why you do something. Like you don't, I mean, well, maybe you do it like selfishly, but like presumably most people do it because they're like in service or in some other way, like in thinking of what their audience needs.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, can you tell us about any projects we don't know about that you're working on that you're really excited about?
Yeah, what are your top secrets?
Yeah, top secrets. I think all my top secrets are with you guys.
Okay.
Okay, we'll keep those quiet. We already know about those.
I think we might have already blabbed about them.
Oh, Elly!
Secrets out! If you've been listening to this and hearing bleeps throughout, it's not because anyone's swearing. It's because I was telling all of Nick's secrets.
We left all the swearing in.
It's like blackout poetry.
Yeah, it totally is. I don't think I have anything crazy going on. I always have things in the works, but I think I'm in a place to like see where these big things, like these big heart things, honestly, for me go. And tattoo clients are kind of rad. Like I'm a super introvert and I'm like their therapist, and it's kind of crazy cool to hear all their stories. There's going to be a book out. There's going to be a book in this.
I like that.
Something about tattoo artists that people tell you all the things. So, which is cool.
When I first got into zines, my favorite ones were always the ones where people talked about their job, and they were like, "This is what happened in my job doing pizza delivery."
Yeah.
I would totally read a tattoo artist book.
Yeah, people have so many stories. It's wild.
My experience of being tattooed is often that the tattoo artist like tells me way too much about their personal life. Like I can see, but I'm like the world's mom, so like everybody tells me too much about their life. But like so many people were like, "Here, I'm about to get divorced. I haven't told my husband yet, but like here's all that's going on with that," and I'm just like, I don't know you. Yeah, many things like that. Or like somebody will come up and be like, "I think you know my ex. Here are all the worst things my ex did," you know, and just like you're just like,
oh, cool. I didn't know you were the world's mom, Joe.
I am. It's
see you in a different light suddenly.
It's a difficult title, but I try to do my best despite it. You know?
Heavy. It's probably pretty heavy.
It's a lot of responsibility.
I'm really sorry. Good job. I'm glad someone's doing it at least. So
right, I do like clock out early some days. So another thing that we're doing as the world's mom is that you're a test case for a new workflow where we had been through a lot of difficult deck manufacturers and printers, and for some unknown reason, like, well, this may all change by publication time, but as of now, like, decks take 3 times as long to print as books do, and there just aren't, and it's not like there's like that much more work or different work or whatever. There's not enough manufacturers doing it, so that's part of it, but a lot of it is just like we were getting really inconsistent quality and production problems, and like we're doing the 3rd set of jobs with the same manufacturer for the first time in 5 or 6 years. Okay. And so, and spoiler alert, the dummies on your deck look fantastic. No issues, no worries. But because this was so built up to, we were like, okay, so we should probably work it backwards and figure out, maybe we'll just do the decks and then
announce them.
Yeah, and then be like, and then this deck that is printed now comes out next spring.
Yeah.
But the other thing that is, and I think this is again to your point about us, something else that we were like, wait, does the publication schedule make sense in the case of decks? Because you don't really sell a lot of decks ahead of press time. Like, you sell them all in the first year, whereas like with a book, you sell, a third of them before it comes out usually, and with a bigger publisher, maybe half,
Mm-hmm.
And whereas with these, we were like, well, the pre-order is 16, so like it doesn't really matter if we get those 16 orders beforehand or not.
Like solidify that. No, geez, the 16.
And then, so what happens is like, with a book, you show it to the stores and you show it to Ingram and you show it to Baker and Taylor, and then you get all these orders, and then you know how much to print. But with a deck, they don't even buy a carton of each, so you're sending them often like single or double digits, and then they're reordering. So it doesn't actually matter, so then that was kind of what brought us back to this, where we're like, does it actually matter to do it correctly, or does it make more sense to just be like, hey guys, we made a new thing, anybody want any? And then we can sell it correctly to the trade as they like it, but then be like, oh, by the way, and it's shipping now.
Yeah, we are. Funnily enough, we already have it. That's amazing.
Okay. We were really fast.
We are so amazing.
So that's something, and you are, spoiler alert, you are the test case for this.
It's fine.
But based on the numbers, doing it the other way wasn't working, and I'm thinking I kind of wonder how many decks got canceled because publishers weren't getting like significant pre-sale numbers.
And that's sad too.
And then but like right now, the funnier thing is like decks are like the hot thing, so then it's like doubly funny because it's like the data wouldn't show that.
Oh yeah. I think that's your magic, though, you guys. I really do. I know you can see it, but maybe the world needs to see it. But we won't tell them all the secrets. Don't tell them all the secrets.
Our goal with this podcast is kind of to tell them all the secrets.
Oh, it is.
But, I don't know. You can tell people all the secrets in the world, and they don't necessarily, like, do anything with them.
Well, learning a lesson, you have to learn it, like, 62 times until you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's not like we learned any of these secrets by listening to other people. We certainly had to learn them the hard way.
That's how I
We're
get.
not very good at following directions either.
You, Joe. I was very surprised you just said that, but okay. I'll let it sink in for a minute.
No, we are and we aren't. It's more just like there's a certain, I think it's like Elly and I both were like the kind of children that would just ask why a lot. and then you become an adult that like knows that you don't need to ask why out loud, but like you ask that in your head until you like find out the answer to it.
Oh wait, you don't need to ask why out loud.
Well, I guess we all learn something.
I'm learning something new today.
Time.
Wait a minute.
Today's the day.
Whew, all right, I'm gonna have to sit on that one. I also have to go on to my next meeting. But I wanted to thank you for coming and spending the time and having this wonderful conversation with us.
Yeah, thanks for laughing and stuff, and even bringing it back around to the tarot. I didn't know if we. I mean, I didn't care if we got background. So.
Joe's excellent at bringing it back around.
For things the mind cannot know.
Well, I think the important thing also that I was going to say at the beginning, but I'll just say it now to end the show, is in the word heart, A-R-T is capitalized and red. So just so you know.
I still
it is hard.
Figured out what that means, but it's good. That's why we had to break this down.
Thanks for joining us once again.
Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub.
On Twitter at Microcosm.
On Facebook at Microcosm Publishing.
On Instagram at Microcosm_pub.
And here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.